It is one heck of a lineup out here. The 2018 M2, the 2016 Ford Focus ST, and the 2020 long range Model Y. This car is beautiful and the whole lineup right now is impressive. The Focus ST is going to be sold here soon, so I have a couple more videos and a couple things to do to the car before I sell it, and we'll be good to go. But yeah, right now the focus is the Model Y, and we're going to be talking about the Model Y compared to a Porsche Macan, because I did also consider a Macan, but I'm discussing in this video why I went with this over that. Not bashing on the Macan or anything like that, but thought I'd help you out if you're comparing the two, because they are similar in cost and performance, and I'd say the Macan is a little bump up in luxury as well. We'll get into it. Headed off to restock one of the hospitals. We had a trauma surgery earlier today, and look at this already. So first of all, you have storage in the back of this car that drops down, as you can see, but this panel, as if you're going to be flipping it up a lot, it has these little notches where it catches and sits up for you. So I'm able to throw my book bag and I'm able to throw my medical kits to restock down in there and securely store them and still have this full storage area up here. So already you're being able to see the daily usability of this thing. It's incredible. Something to note that I learned this morning from Reed, if you want to set this, so in my garage, we're going to park it on this side, if the trunk were to go all the way up, it would hit the top of the garage. So the way to set this height is adjust it to where you want the max to be, and then so where it's at the max now, and then you hold this button for about 3 seconds and you'll hear a beep, and that way it won't go any higher than that. Now you can manually push it higher if you're just out in a parking lot or whatever, but this way anytime it electrically goes up or automatically goes up, it won't hit whatever's above it. Recently I went to the Porsche dealership with my wife, and we looked at a Macan in Miami blue, which is an incredible color. The spec was great. It was a white interior, kind of like we have here, except the seats were leather. They were a nicer material, and the Porsche Macan overall is a more luxurious car, but you're paying for it, and it doesn't win in every single way over the Tesla Model Y. First thing we'll start with is exterior. They're both beautiful looking cars. I would argue that in general people would say that the Macan is a better looking car. What helps the Model Y is the fact that it has a sleek coupe body style to it. So the slanting roof line in the back, which what I now understand is that's the most efficient way to make an SUV. If you're going to make an SUV, having the coupe-like slanted back is going to make it aerodynamically efficient. So from the outside, I think the Macan is a sportier looking car. You can get it with quad tip exhaust. The front's aggressive with the large air intakes for the motor. Everything about it is, you know, it's a Porsche, and regardless if it's an SUV or not, it still has the PDK transmission, it has sport mode, it has all of these driving modes that make it a Porsche through and through. So from that perspective, from the exterior, I think I'd give the Porsche the win. Now if you jump to the interior, the number one difference you're going to notice is, well, in a Tesla, here you go, this is what you have. You have the one screen, there's no buttons, you have 2 buttons here on the wheel, and that's it. On the Porsche you have a ton of buttons, but I don't think buttons are a bad thing. I love buttons, and I think Porsche does a nice job. Even the way they feel when you click them it's so smooth, it just, I don't know, there's a tactile thing to buttons, and I think there should always be a place for buttons in vehicles. Having another just beautiful night here in Phoenix. Look at that, wow. On the interior, extremely different, and like I said, the Porsche, it had leather everywhere, stitched, it was very nice. But as I'm sitting in this Porsche that's a 4-cylinder that does 0 to 60 in like, I don't even know, I think it was 6 seconds, I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna pay $70,000 for a 4-cylinder car that doesn't even have 300 horsepower, and the efficiency, you'd think, okay, well, if it doesn't have that much horsepower, then it should be efficient. No, highway miles per gallon are like 25, and city is like 22 or 19, or it's not good. This car it's incredible. Now you might be saying, well, it's efficient because it's electric, but it uses that electricity efficiently. I was watching Engineering Explained. He did a 1,900 mile road trip in his Tesla, and over 1,900 miles his car used in the electricity equivalent of 16.6 gallons of gas, over 1,900 miles. So think about that, how efficient that is. There's the Stinger, that looks really good. It's another beautiful car. But think of how impressive that efficiency is, that this car gets over 300 miles of range. And I will be doing official range testing out here, especially in Arizona. It's very hot, the air conditioning is tough on the batteries, so it'll be interesting to see how many miles I can actually get out of the car. So I'll be covering all of that in future videos. But again, back to the Macan, you know, I'm sitting in the dealership, I'm looking at the price tag. It was like $72,000 or $74,000 for a base model with a bunch of options. It had cooled seats, it had white interior, it had upgraded wheels. The paint job alone is like $3,000 or $4,000 Miami blue. So it just adds up very quick, and you're in a car that isn't that fast. That's when I look at the Model Y, and I'm like, this is the way to go, especially for my job. Like you saw earlier in the video, the storage, being able to have camp mode where you put a mattress. There's a mattress we're gonna get for the car. It's built specifically for the dimensions of the Model Y, and that lets you sleep comfortably in the back. So there's all these unique things that the Model Y has that for me, it was a no-brainer. Being able to, here's another example. Registration on my M2 is $867 annually in Arizona. This cost $167 for 5 years, and that's because it's an electric vehicle. I also get the cloud plate, which gives me HOV lane access at all hours, which for me, again, is a huge benefit, considering I drive a lot in rush hour. So there's all of these little things that added up for me that made this purchase a no-brainer. Now, I'm not saying that this is by any means an inexpensive car. It wasn't a cheap purchase, and I understand that's why I'm selling my Focus ST, is to put that money toward paying this off. And actually what I might do is I might put the Focus ST money toward paying my M2 off, because that has a higher interest rate. This is 2.75%. The M2 is at 3.69. So it makes sense for me to pay that interest off first, or pay that loan off first, just because this interest is less. Do I love the Macan? Yes. I still gush when I see a Macan. I think it's a beautiful car. The Macan S is probably what I would go with, just having that extra power. I feel like if you're gonna buy a Porsche, you need to have the V6. You can have a 4-cylinder in the Boxsters and the Caymans, or the 718, I guess they're called now. That's fine, but in an SUV, it's gonna not have a lot of pickup, and that would bother me, especially in a Porsche. The other thing to note is Teslas get better over time. They are constantly learning. There's constantly data being fed back to the home base, and the cars are getting better. The cruise control is getting better. For example, I don't have the full self-driving on this car, but it does come with autopilot, so I'll double click, and now it's steering me in the lanes, and I have it set to keep a certain distance from other cars around me. So yeah, I didn't want to pay $8,000 for the car to drive itself. I enjoy driving too much, and I love how this car drives. Low center of gravity. I'm going to be taking it to the canyons as well, so that's going to be really cool. But all of these things that it has are superior to what the Porsche has. Now, the other thing is, like I said about the car getting better over time, the Porsche has, the infotainment system is set, and every, I think, 6 or 7 years is their rotation. They haven't done a full body refresh on it. They did a midlife cycle on the Macan, but they haven't done a full body. But what they have updated is the screen. The screen is the screen now is like a 10-inch or 12-inch screen that goes across. Before it was like a 7-inch. So so between 2014 and 2018, you have one screen, and then 2019 and up, it's this big screen and it outdates the whole interior. This, you get constant over-the-air software updates, so your car only gets better. In one case, the car's got more efficient by 10 miles. So there could be, they supercharge faster. There's all of these little things that are constantly being updated, and you get those at no extra cost. Whereas other cars, you buy them and that's what you get. Your Sirius XM runs out and you're screwed, you know? So there's little things like that that I'm getting used to that in my head makes this car superior to others. Another example, last night I was passing a truck as I was on cruise control, and the Tesla edges its way over in the lane to keep you away from it, and after you make the pass, it edges back over to the center of the lane. So I just really appreciate that type of technology, and it's only going to get better with time, and it doesn't look like Tesla refreshes their cars very much, so this will be relevant even though it's a first model year for a long time. It's telling me to put my hands back on the wheel. So, if you're thinking of getting a Macan, I can understand why, and I just think you should test drive a Tesla before you do that, if it's reasonable for you. If you're driving, I don't know, hundreds of miles a day and you can't be recharging, yeah, you need a gas-powered car because batteries aren't quite there yet. But for me, I do a lot of driving, police, and the work that I do. This just makes a lot of sense, and I'm very excited. I went with this route over the Porsche route. I mean, the car registration, there's just a lot that I'm saving. There's an energy tax I get at the end of the year, or energy credit I get at the end of the year when I do my taxes. So I'll be informing you guys on every little nuance I find about this car, whether it's financial or technology, and comparing it to other cars. I will let you know. But I think those two cars are very close to one another. At the end of the day, the Porsche, it's a sports-driven car, but I would bet this drives better. Having the low center of gravity, the quicker acceleration, you'd have to get like a Macan Turbo or a GTS. I don't even think the GTS is as fast as this. And you'd have to get it like a Macan Turbo, which I've seen those at $100,000 after you option them. And that's what you would have to get up to performance of a $50,000 car. So I think it's very impressive. I think this package is amazing, and this will probably be the most sold Tesla that they've built to date. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you're still with me, I appreciate the support. I'm going to be making an absurd amount of videos on my Model Y, just like I did with my Focus ST. So let me know what questions you have. Put them down in the comments below. I'll get back to as many as possible, and we'll see you next time. Also, one more anecdote. A lot of the hospitals that I work at actually have electric charging ports, so while I am in the hospital in a surgery or restocking or doing whatever, my car can be charging. My spots are better than the handicap spots for going electric. #triggered.